So, after understanding some basic terms like displacement vector, polarization vector, then electric field E, capital B magnetic field, capital H, I intensity of magnetization, capital J that is current density, rho is a volume charge density, then the law of conservation of charge that is equation of continuity. Now I'll begin with the Maxwell equations. There are four Maxwell equations. The first one is divergence of D is equal to rho. It is also called Gauss law in electrostatics. The other is divergence of a B is equal to 0. It has no name, so I have written no name. The third is curl of E is equal to minus del B over del T. It is called Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. And the fourth equation is curl of H is equal to J plus del D over del T. This is Ampere's law with the Maxwell's correction. So we will now discuss about these equations one by one, and I will suggest you also to derive them and understand them in order to understand basically the further physics which is based on the application of Maxwell equations. The first one is the Gauss divergence theorem electrostatics. You know the statement that normal component of electric field or the electric flux associated with the surface is 1 upon epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed within that surface, and the surface is called Gaussian surface. The surface over which we apply the integral is called Gaussian surface. So if we want to derive this, I have not derived it here. If you want to derive it, you can divide the surface into a small infinitesimal element. Take one small element to be equal to ds. Suppose it is at a distance r from the charge, because charge is well within the surface, inside the surface. So each and every point on the surface will be at different distance from the surface. So you write down E dot ds, it will be equal to E into ds into cos of theta. Theta will be the angle between the direction of electric field and normal to the surface. So here n cap is nothing but normal to the surface, and that is 1 upon epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed within the Gaussian surface. So you find out the flux, add them together. Adding means finding out the surface integral. If you write it, you have to exploit the concept of solid angle also. Solid angle at a point subtended by a surface of whatever shape is always equal to 4 pi. You will get the relation integration E dot ds or E into n ds to be equal to q upon epsilon 0. We assume as if our Gaussian surface is defined by the volume charge density to be equal to rho. So to find out the charge within the Gaussian surface, what we have to do? We have to divide the surface into small volume elements. We will find out the charge enclosed by each and every small volume element, and finally we will add all of them together to find out the total charge. But in terms of mathematics, we will say that we will find out the integration over the whole volume over the charge on each and every small infinitesimal element. Here I have replaced it by d tau. I have written d tau as the volume element. So E dot ds is now 1 upon epsilon 0 integration over the volume. It is now rho dot d tau, rho into d tau. Again we make use of now the Gauss divergence theorem of vector calculus. We convert E dot ds over the whole surface as a volume integral, divergence of E into d tau, which is equal to 1 upon epsilon 0 integration over the whole volume, rho into d tau. Again, if you put them together, divergence of E minus rho upon epsilon 0 into d tau will be equal to 0. Now this equation, the quantity under the bracket has to be equal to 0 to satisfy this equation. So therefore, divergence of E is a minus rho upon epsilon 0 is equal to 0, or divergence of E is rho upon epsilon 0. We can take rho 0 onto the other side, so it becomes now divergence of epsilon 0 E We recall D is equal to epsilon 0 E plus P, but suppose the material is not polarized, the value of capital P will be equal to 0, then we have the simple relation D to be equal to epsilon 0 into E, and we can convert it into divergence of D is equal to rho, or we can write it as divergence of E to be equal to rho upon epsilon 0. We all know that electrostatic field is a conservative field, and in conservative field the electric field can be written as the negative gradient of the potential, or the force can be written as the negative gradient of the potential energy. So if you remember that F is equal to minus gradient of U, you write down F to be equal to Q into E, you write down U to be equal to Q into B, it is basically Q and Q will cancel out, and you will have E to be equal to minus gradient of B. So you put it in the Gauss divergence theorem in the differential form. So it is divergence of minus gradient of B is rho upon epsilon 0. So it is del square B to be equal to minus rho upon epsilon 0. This equation is a well-known equation called Pearson equation in electrostatics. Suppose we apply this equation in the regions where there is no charge, the value of rho will be equal to 0. So we can write down the same equation as del square B to be equal to 0. Then the equation is called Laplace equation. Both Laplace equation and the Pearson equations are very important in electrostatics. Now before I move on to the second Maxwell equations, I will talk about the solution of Pearson equation also. If you look at the Pearson equation, it is del square B is equal to minus rho upon epsilon 0. If you follow the book by Griffith, you will find out basically a complete chapter where del square B is equal to minus rho upon epsilon 0 is solved using Cartesian coordinates, using spherical polar coordinates, and using basically the cylindrical polar coordinates also. And maybe in some of the competitions you will also have to solve those equations just for the sake of completeness of your course for the competitive examination. But here in our syllabus we don't have the solution of the equation. Suppose we want to solve it. So we have to break it in Cartesian coordinates. We have to write down del square V over del x square plus del square V over del y square plus del square V over del z square, and then we have to apply a long method to solve it. So I basically go on to our problem. In fact, we have taken a Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is divided. It is defined by a volume charge density to be equal to rho. Suppose if you look at the figure, we have a volume element d tau. We take a point P at a distance r from here. We made use of the same figure to derive basically our Gauss theorem, and from the Gauss theorem we obtained the Pearson equation. Now we make use of the same figure to write down the potential also. The potential is a scalar quantity. So the potential at a point is given by the potential sum of the potential due to each and every infinitesimal volume element of which the charge distribution or the body is made up of. So if you consider a volume d tau, the charge on this volume element will be equal to rho into d tau. It is at a distance r from P. So each and every volume element will be at a different distance r from here. Okay, so if you sum all those terms, we can say write it as V is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 integration over the volume rho into d tau upon r. D tau is the volume element, rho is the volume charge density, that is the function of r here. So B is also a function of r. So as a function of r, we can find out the value of B by using this formula from the same figure which we made use of to find out the Pearson equation. So therefore we can say this solution B is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 integration rho r into d tau upon B is the solution of Pearson equation. So if we have a electrostatic equation, electrostatic Pearson equation, we can write down the solution as B r to be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 rho of r into d tau into r. In fact, in the future we will make use of this solution to solve some other problems. So this is a very important solution. You all have to remember it. The second, the Maxwell equation has not given any name, but we are familiar with the properties of magnetic lines of forces and also the magnetic lines of forces. You must have drawn basically at class 12th level the magnetic lines of forces using a pencil and a compass and a magnet. Magnetic lines of forces are either closed or go off to infinity. So therefore, if you consider any arbitrary surface, the number of lines which will enter the surface will exactly be same as the number of lines leaving the surface. What does it mean? It means that the flux of magnetic field across any closed surface will be equal to 0. So mathematically we can write it as B dot ds to be equal to 0. We again make use of the Gauss divergence theorem. So it becomes now a volume integral, divergence of a B into d tau to be equal to 0, and which helps us to write divergence of a B to be equal to 0, which is similar to divergence of E to be equal to rho upon epsilon 0. On the electric field side, the right hand side is not equal to 0, that is rho upon epsilon 0, but on the magnetic field side, divergence of B is equal to 0. Now here let us find out some similarity and differences between the electric field and the magnetic field. One more thing, divergence like fields are called solenoidal and the curlless fields are called irrotational. In fact, these two words, solenoidal and irrotational, are very important. Solenoidal magnetic field, here divergence of B is equal to 0. So that means B is solenoidal, our magnetic field is solenoidal. If I talk about the electric field diverges away from the positive charge. If you have a positive charge, the electric field will originate from the positive charge and they will go to infinity. But the magnetic lines will always curl around the current. Electric lines of forces originate on positive charges and terminate on negative ones, or if there is no negative charge, then they will go to infinity. But the magnetic lines of forces don't begin or end anywhere. That means they have basically zero divergence. They either form closed loops or they extend out to go to infinity. That is why we write down divergence of B is equal to 0. So divergence of B is equal to 0. Its a physical meaning is the magnetic charges, because flux, magnetic charges, we call it as magnetic monopoles. So there is no magnetic monopoles enclosed within the surface. So divergence of B means that no magnetic monopoles exist. In fact, electrostatics, we have monopoles, we have single charges, but in case of magnetic field, we don't have a north pole or the south pole independently. Even if you have a magnet, if you break into 1,000 pieces, we will always end up with the north pole and the south pole. So divergence of B basically rules out that possibility that no monopoles, no magnetic monopoles exist. It is also a very important question at the competition level.